Hey friends! My name is Desiree, aka Mama Friendly, and I do all sorts of videos on my channel, from cooking videos to planner videos, vlogs, hauls, homeschool videos with a Disney twist, a little bit of everything. So if any of that sounds like fun to you, I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on my YouTube adventure. This video is a collab hosted by Tiffany of Small Town 6 and Jessica of Jessica My Rose. It is called Foodie Fridays, and we all gather on the first Friday of every month to share a recipe of our choosing. Now, I had a grocery haul recorded for last month, and last minute, half of my footage just got wiped from my camera, which was tragic, and I was not able to release the grocery haul as a result. But one of the things in that grocery haul is that I found a huge hunk of meat, a rib roast, that I did not know what to do with. I have never cooked before, but it was supposed to be like a $90 cut of beef, and it was on sale for like 30 bucks, $28, $29, something like that. So since I am perpetually on a budget and always looking for a deal, I thought to myself, yeah, I've never made one of these before, but we'll figure it out. So I ended up buying a rib roast, and I decided it would be fun for Foodie Friday for us to kind of go on an adventure together, a journey, if you will, learning how to make a rib roast for the very first time. I found a recipe online, I got to work, it turned out to be a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be, and delectable. So make sure you stick around for the recipe. I do want to remind you that because it's a collab, we've got a playlist. So if you look in the description box of my video, you'll find links to Tiffany and Jessica's channels, but also a link to the playlist so that once you've seen my video, you can go in there and check out what all of my friends made this month. So now we got our bearings a little bit, let's dive right into making my very first rib roast. So friends, you might have seen in my last grocery haul video that I got this rib roast. Amazon Fresh has it listed as USDA Choice Bone-In Rib Roast 4 pounds. The reason that I got this rib roast is because I saw that it was originally marked for $90.69. $90 for meat in this economy? Yeah, actually in this economy I believe it. Hence why I could not resist the deal. It was marked down to $29.96. So that's a 67% off savings. So I could not resist, even though I have never made a rib roast before. So with that, I say, welcome to Foodie Friday. You and I are going to learn to make a beef rib roast together. Luckily for the both of us, it seems to be pretty easy and pretty straightforward. I'm going to be following the Epicurious recipe that I found online. So, according to the recipe I found, you need this standing rib roast of beef. You also need 3 to 4 cloves of garlic that have been thinly slivered. I'm already at a disadvantage here because what I have is the minced jarred garlic, but I'm gonna make do. This is about learning as we go along, but also using what we've got. You also need coarse salt and pepper. Luckily, I do have those. And so we're going to preheat our oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. We're gonna make small slits in the meat where we're going to shove our garlic in as best we can. Obviously, if we had slivers, it'd be easier because it would just be a solid dunk right in. But since we have the minced stuff, we're gonna have to just kind of get it in there where we're able. Then we're gonna rub the entire thing with the salt and pepper. I'm gonna let it sit, the recipe doesn't say to, but I'm gonna let it sit like that, seasoned, for maybe, well, I suppose as long as it takes to preheat the oven. So I'll season it first and then start the oven so that it has a little bit of time to let all the flavors kind of sink in. Then we're going to put this on a rack with a shallow pan under it. Luckily I have both of those things. And we're gonna roast it at the 450 for 25 minutes. This is so that we give the outside a little bit of like a sear. Next, we're gonna reduce the temperature to 350 Fahrenheit. That's super important because otherwise the whole thing's gonna dry out. And it says at that point to roast it for 16 minutes per pound. So this is 4 pounds, 16 times 4 would be just over an hour. And that's just over an hour on top of the 25 minutes that we already did at the higher temperature. Once it reaches an internal temperature of 135 to 140 Fahrenheit, you've got a medium rare center, and that's what I'm hoping for. And then we're just meant to let it rest for 15 minutes before we serve it. So come along with me on this journey and let's see if we can't learn to make our very first rib roast together. Alright, so this definitely would have been a lot easier with the slivers of garlic for sure, because now my concern is that all this garlic that stayed on the outside might burn, and that's going to give us a not fun flavor. So I'm trying to kind of take all of the excess off. And you might have noticed I took the garlic that I thought I might use out of the main jar and put it in its own little container because I didn't want to be sticking a utensil into the jar once it had touched the raw meat. So done a pretty good job, I think, of cleaning it up there. All this garlic that was already on the meat is obviously going to get tossed. And now I'm just going to take clean hands, going to use my very little bit of pepper that I have left and my salt. They're both in grinders, and the grinders are set to their coarsest setting. So I'm just going to all over and then rub it in, and once I've finished that, I'm going to go ahead and start the oven at 450 so that the whole time the oven's preheating, this is kind of just sitting in all the spices. And this is the pan I'm going to be using. So as you can see, there is a rack that comes off, and then the pan underneath is kind of to just like support the rack and catch the drippings so it doesn't make a mess in the oven. I will have this exact pan linked down below in the description box in case you'd like to get one for yourself. I also really like using this to cook bacon in the oven and to cook chicken, like whole chickens, chicken pieces, because everything gets nice and crispy, the air circulates, but you don't have to worry about making a mess. Now that I've washed my hands for the 18th time, this has been an exercise in washing my hands, I've gone ahead and put the roast in the pan. The recipe does not specify how to put it, like in what position. So the way that I've decided to do it, just based on general cooking knowledge and instinct, is I'm taking the fattiest part here and I'm putting it at the top, so that as that cooks and renders, it'll melt down into the rest of the meat and kind of keep it moist. So that means that for this particular roast, the bones are at the bottom. Is that correct? Like I said, I genuinely don't know, but it's what makes sense to me, so that's what I'm going with. So now that this is basically ready, I'm gonna go ahead and put my oven at 450. And once it is preheated, I will put it in. The recipe says 25 minutes, but then again, the recipe is for a 6.5 pound roast, and this is a 4 pound roast. So I'm gonna give it 20 minutes before turning the temperature down to 350. And then it did say 16 minutes per pound, so that would be 64 minutes. I'm gonna put it in for an hour. Regardless, after it comes out of the oven, it has to rest. It's gonna keep cooking. I personally prefer the rawer side of medium, if rawer is even a word. So I don't mind it being slightly undercooked, but I feel like since I'm following a recipe for a bigger roast, I don't want it to overcook. You could always cook it more, you can't uncook it once it's too cooked. So that's what I'm going with. Now it's just gonna kind of sit and get flavorful while we wait for the oven to be ready for it. I'm really tempted to open the oven to see what it looks like in there right now. I won't, because I don't want to ruin the cooking. But let me see if I can make the house quiet so you guys can hear the sizzling action. Yeah, probably not because kiddo's got his iPad out now. But yeah, it smells amazing in here. So we're gonna go ahead and turn the temp down to 350. Perfect. And that's going to be, it's supposed to be 64 minutes. Let's go, whatever, let's go for 62 and hope for the best, right? I really don't want to overcook this, but I'm also worried it's gonna be undercooked. I don't know, it said 16 minutes a pound. It's 4 pounds. Let's go with the recipe. I've never done this before. All I can do is trust the recipe. Alright friends, there you have it. It was actually, like I said, much simpler than I expected it to be. And as you saw at the end there, our carving skills left a little to be desired. What else is new? But it turned out absolutely delicious. We love a medium rare steak around here, and this was cooked perfectly. The texture was incredible. It was basically just ribeye steaks, just happened to be cooked all at once in the oven instead of having to babysit them on the stove and the cast iron. So that on its own was fantastic. But the fact that they turned out so perfectly seared on the outside, so juicy in the middle, flavorful all the way through, amazing. The sad thing is I don't know when I'm gonna come across a deal like that again, but if I ever do, I am equipped with a method and a recipe now, and I will absolutely dive in and make this again. Have you conquered a brand new recipe lately? Maybe something that you were a little nervous about tackling, but it ended up turning out great, or maybe not so much. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. And remember, before you go, check out that playlist so you can see what all of my friends made for their Foodie Fridays this month. And remember, we're doing this on the first Friday of every month throughout the entire year. And you guys know if there's one thing I love around here is fun new recipes. So make sure you come back every month and check out what I've got cooking. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I hope you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you'd subscribe and click that notification bell because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye!